Welcome back to Fox 40 News at 11. I'm Sincere Tonsel. In a little over 2 weeks, voters here in California and across the country will be deciding the balance of power in Congress and shaping the direction of 1,000 different local initiatives. There are almost as many voices trying to inform those choices, but a new one now in the mix on our parent channel, News Nation, is promising the fairness and integrity many feel is missing in our political discourse right now. Chris Cuomo, welcome to Fox 40 News at 11.
Hey, thank you very much. I don't promise anything. I'm just putting in the effort.
All right.
No promises. No promises.
Well, to that end, in your return to broadcast TV this month, 10 months after being asked to leave CNN, you said that it's time to change the game. What's different with this new show that maybe isn't on the broadcast landscape right now?
Instead of just litigating or even policing the latest back and forth between the left and right, as we see it in our elected politics, I think it's more helpful for regular people at home to expose what it is and why it is. You know, most people don't pay a lot of attention to their politics because it's so ugly, and they focus on it more on the local level. And we see that the majority in this country is not strong Democrat or strong Republican. The fastest growing part of our electorate is unaffiliated. And I think you got to play to that. You should play to the majority. And my show is for things that strike common concerns. So it's as likely that I'll talk about the latest iteration of the raid on Mar-a-Lago as it is that I'll talk about Ozempic, the diet pill that is all over the place, and why are people taking it, and what do we know about it, you know, or the latest set of symptoms of COVID that is making a lot of us think that we may not have it or that they're coming back. I think there are more people who care about that stuff that is all politics adjacent, right? Because with a diet pill, you're talking about regulation, or with COVID, you're talking about, you know, what dominates our life in terms of what the latest measures are, more than just Mar-a-Lago, this court case, this investigation, that investigation. I think people are sick of it. I don't think it affects their lives as directly as the other stories. And it's harder to do what I'm doing, but I think it's more important.
Well, right now, viewers, voters seem to have little patience for the partisanship and kind of the gaming of the system that they see out of Washington and maybe out of their own state houses or city offices. They feel like they're not getting the real deal on many of the issues you just brought up, not getting all of the information. And that's what you've just talked about, wanting to deliver. But given what's gone on in your professional life over the last year, the questioning of your journalistic ethics, how do you build that trust back for people to say, this is where I'm going to go and listen to him?
I don't think I have to. People have been asking me to come back since I got fired. And I think they understand what it was about. And if they don't, I'm not going to change their mind. And that's okay. That's okay. People are, you know, they're free to have an opinion. It doesn't mean that it's right, but they're free to have their opinion. I know how to do the job. Anybody who's ever watched me knows that. And the only thing that's really changed is what my focus is in doing that job. I still want to be a witness to history. I'll still go places that most people in the news, you know, won't go or choose not to go. And I think that's really important for my audience, that they get to see firsthand the person who's the agent of their interests, showing them what matters in the world. And I really don't feel the need to kind of regain anything other than cash flow. Because I haven't had a job for such a long time. But the reason that I started the podcast, the Chris Cuomo Project, and chose News Nation is because I wanted to be in a different space where there are more people who aren't tied to affiliation. And there's a benefit to that in the podcast space and at News Nation. And here's the good news. If they don't like you, if they don't trust you, they won't watch you. And you get to know whether or not that's the net effect, minute by minute, every day. TV is always a test, and either you're up to being tested or you're not.
This is true. And of course, we're coming up against the midterms, which is a test for all of the candidates running. I know you're talking about more than just politics on your show, but just yesterday, our governor had his one and only debate in the gubernatorial race with his Republican challenger. Lots of critiques out there about what Gavin Newsom is doing right now with the out-of-state commercials. Do you have a take on his presidential aspirations and the potential success or failure of them?
I haven't seen any indication that he really wants it. You can't be president of this country unless it matters to you more than anything else in your life. And I know that every man and woman who runs will say, well, my family comes first. If it really did, you probably wouldn't run for president. It's really tough on family, especially kids, especially if they're younger. So if you're doing it It's because you've made something more important than that, and that's okay. So I haven't seen with your governor that he has that appetite yet. He also has a lot of problems at home that he has to deal with. And that's okay. That's the process. He fought off a recall. That is a unique challenge in politics, and there aren't a lot of places that do it, certainly not the way California does. But I think it also gets back to your concern a few moments earlier, trust. Do people trust that Newsom, whether they like his calls or they don't like his calls, that he has their interests foremost? If they believe that, he wins. If they believe he has lost that, he loses. Now, the race is set up for him to win at this point. But the big shame to me is that there's only one debate. What a mistake. What a mistake, especially in a state with so many referenda. You know, you guys have so much of a populist appeal to your legislative process. Why do you allow only one debate? You should have 10. You should have the people who want to compete for your interests and your agency. You should be exhausted by having listened to them because it's the only time they can't duck, because you're watching it in real time versus their competitor.
Well,
there should be so many. That's why I'm proud that News Nation is covering the Pennsylvania Senate debate, because people should see it.
Exactly. I think a lot of voters would appreciate more debates, but you have to get the candidates to agree. As for now, we thank you so much for your time this morning. Again, Chris Cuomo with Cuomo on News Nation. We appreciate you.
Thank you.